Hey, this is Felipe Rodriguez, founder of Askolympus.com. We're here at the beautiful Pompano Art Center upstairs. We're going to be interviewing Juan Ortega from Action Coach. He is going to tell us a little bit about how to become a better business owner. Subscribe, like, and comment below. We're going to give you some information, tips, and tricks how to become a better business owner. So today is the first episode for Askolympus, Leave a Legacy Behind. We have Juan Ortega here from Action Coach. Juan, it's been a while, man. How long have we known each other?
Probably about 3 or 4 years at least, although it seems longer or shorter, I'm not sure.
It's good when you meet somebody that has the same kind of mindset and you become, a friend. And the reason I wanted for you to be the first person that I interview is because I think that being a banker, people need coaching, and a lot of people don't want to have that. So I wanted to first, tell everybody a little bit about Askolympus. Askolympus is a platform that's going to be able to help business owners and entrepreneurs kind of leave a legacy behind. I was born without a dad. I didn't have like a role model in my life, and now a year and a half ago I had my baby Maximus, and I want to be able to have people like yourself, for him to learn. So I wanted to start with that. What kind of legacy you're looking to leave behind?
Yeah, great question. I love what you say about your son Maximus, and I've met him. He's an adorable boy, and I have 3 daughters of my own. And when we talk about legacy, my goal, and I said this to my wife just the other day, is I want to have 3 businesses up and running that are working, that are profitable, that are making money, whether they're there, whether I'm there or not. And when my kids get up to that age where I'm going to look to retire, they can either run the business, take it over, or we can sell it for a profit, or we can assign a general manager. So, when you talk about a legacy, the legacy is, I want to write books, I want to shoot videos, I want to teach as much as I can while I'm alive and well, so that future generations like my daughter Isabella, like Maximus, can benefit from these teachings that have been passed on to me.
The other question I had for you is, who has made a big impact in your life? What person has made an impact in your life that that has changed?
Definitely started with reading all the books. So I started with Stephen Covey, was probably the first personal development book that I read. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Napoleon Hill, people like that, that we all probably know and read some of their books. But I'll tell you the most personal relationship that I've had with a person that transformed my life is my coach, Brad Sugars. Brad Sugars is the founder of Action Coach. I'm a franchise owner, I'm a partner of his, and he's my coach. He's a very successful entrepreneur. I work with him and see him often, and I'll tell you, he's really just transformed my understanding of not only what business is and should be, but what really life should be about. So kudos and much appreciation and gratitude for Brad Sugars being that person in my life.
Because what I admire that you teach people how to be able to step away from their business. A lot of people work. Again, being that I'm a banker, I see this all the time, that they want to be able to be the accountant, they want to be able to be the salesperson, they want to wear all the hats. And can you tell me a little bit why people should not, business owners, they should be able to leverage other relationships and other experts like yourself?
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, which is most people, without even realizing it, when they say, I'd like to be self-employed and start my own business and work for myself, they don't realize that there's actually 2 types of businesses you can own. One business is actually where you own a job, where you have to show up every day for it to work. And if you don't show up, it doesn't work, it doesn't make money. And so, I call that owning a job. Whereas what we really teach people to do is to own a business. And when you own a business, you don't need to show up for it to work or to make money. It makes money without you, while you sleep, while you are on vacation. And so part of what I do with the people that I coach and the programs that I have is teaching people not just to be self-employed, but to truly own a business that operates without them.
Another question I ask when I meet with clients is, because that's going to determine what kind of client is it. And the first question I ask is, let me ask you a question, Juan. Do you keep a personal budget? And 85% of the people they say no is for a reason, right? So I already know that I'm going to have a problem with helping them obtain that loan. So that's why I think being able to contact people to be able to contact you is very important, because they can see the value of being able to have a system and process in place. So tell me a little about what you have, since then, how you have established that personal brand for yourself, and what are you doing different to be able to separate yourself from other coaches?
Yeah, that's great, and it's so important, not for just me or you, but really every person, even if you're employed by a company, you need to really distinguish yourself, brand yourself. But it's absolutely critical if you're a business, because let's face it, there's other bankers, there's other coaches. I mean, there's doctors and restaurants, and people are ultimately going to ask you, why should I do business with you? What makes you better, bigger, different, or special? And if you haven't developed what I call a unique sales proposition, you're not going to be able to answer that. And so for me personally, you know, what I think has been my thing is that I've developed programs that are affordable for any business at any budget level, right? Because I want to help as many business owners as possible. So I have programs that are $100 a month all the way to $5,000 a month. I'm currently finishing my first book and already started my second book.
I know we've been talking about that.
We've been talking about that for a long time. So that's branding. That's a point of differentiation. And then you know, we're building a really world-class online university as well, where we can leverage that. And so if the person's not available to come to one of our live events, at the very least they can log in and they can learn some entrepreneurial skills from the comfort of their home.
And you know, one thing that I learned by meeting with you and talking to you is that you have to invest in yourself. You know, like last year, you know, I've been following Grant Cardone. You know, he also is trying to get mentored by Brad Sugars.
Right.
So it's a great thing that we all, you know, we think the same way. And you told me, hey, listen, if you don't invest in yourself, who is going to invest in yourself? So I think, you know, one thing that was the biggest fear for me was to do that, right? So last year, I think I spent maybe $20,000 to $15,000 in my own personal brand, in myself, and be able to. So I'm super excited because, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, there's the first interview. A couple weeks from now, I'm going to the 10X Growth Con with Grant, and, you know, also see one of the guys that I follow a lot, Russell Brunson. So it's super exciting. But I want to get a little bit more how you help an individual that's maybe struggling, because we're going through some hard times now, and people they don't know what's going on in the economy. So who will be the perfect person or ideal candidate that you can work with?
Yeah, well, we all need coaches, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the first principle that we have to operate from. We can all benefit from having a coach, whether it's a fitness coach, a life coach, or a business coach, which is what I do. But you have to be open to that, because everyone will say, yeah, I want to grow my business, but they're not willing to do the necessary things in order to grow. They don't have the right open mind in order to step into a program like this. But essentially what I do is I do whatever I need to do with them and for them to do in order for their business to succeed. So sometimes it might be marketing. Sometimes they have ineffective marketing, or they don't have marketing that's enough marketing. And so we will actually take a full look at the business. So it might be marketing, or it might be more of a sales issue where they're generating a lot of leads, but they're not converting the leads because the business owner has never gone through any formal sales training of any sort. So really, whether it's a marketing aspect or issue, whether it's sales conversion, whether it's building a winning team. You know, let's face it, you know, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a restaurateur. Most people don't really know that there's a science to recruiting really good people and to building a winning team, so we can help people with that. Another common thing is with time, because it's so easy to become busy as a business owner. And I always ask them, I'm like, look, are you busy or are you effective? Are you busy, or are you being productive in the way that you're creating the outcomes that you want? So leveraging time so that ultimately you can have what I believe we all want, which is time and money. Because money is great, but if you don't have the time to enjoy it, what's the point? So I look at business like a business is nothing more than a vehicle that gets us those two things, time and money. Because when we have time and money, now we can begin to enjoy life.
Awesome, man. So the other thing I wanted to touch, because again it goes back to I remember just sitting there in a circle with Gino, I think it was JD and Marcelo, and we're like, okay, how can we get this going? And you know, for me, time has been the biggest issue, and especially this past year, we're having the baby. It was like a totally different game changer for me. So it was really it was a struggle, but I can say now that that I'm able to get my mindset is back. What are struggles, or can you tell me like a failure that you had. What was the biggest failure that you can think that you overcame?
Man, I think for me, and if you're a human being, you got to understand that the biggest obstacle to becoming more successful, more happy, more fit, more wealthy, whatever it is, we are the obstacle. We are the number one obstacle in our own life, and really the limitations in what we achieve and what we don't achieve is really based on our thinking. So when I look back, did I create a marketing campaign that didn't work? Sure. Did I try to close a client that didn't buy? Of course. But that's minor stuff. I mean, when you ask me what my biggest challenge or failure might be, it was the failure to realize my own ability. My failure to realize my own capacity to doing some amazing things. And that's something that I work on every single day. Every single day, I have to convince myself that I'm a badass, because if I don't believe it, I guarantee you that no one else is going to. So I think that as well as investing in things like sales courses and marketing courses, gotta invest in yourself first. So that whole thing that you shared about investing, that's where it starts, because right now we're living at a time, yes, a little bit of uncertainty, but in big picture wise, we're living in the best time of the history of humanity. We have less wars, we have less poverty, we're living in actually really good times. And so, and right here, especially here in North America, I mean, we're kind of blessed with what we have. And so the only obstacle standing in the way is ourselves. It's really only up to us, and we have ourselves to thank, but we also have ourselves to blame for anything that we're not happy with.
And when you're telling me, one word that is like going do is commitment. Tell me why people have that lack of commitment.
I think it's fear. I think it's fear of the unknown. Fear, what happens if I fail? What happens if I try something and I look foolish? And it's just, we got to get out of our own way, and we got to really push our ego aside, because if I'm afraid to approach a business owner because I think that he might already know what I'm going to talk to him about, I'm letting my ego stop me from potentially relaying really good value to someone. And so when you get to the heart and root cause of our own insanity as human beings, it's fear, and it's allowing our ego to do the thinking for us. If we just put those things aside, then we're going to be able to open up and really be the best version of ourselves, and realize that if you're in business to just make a buck, you might make a buck, but if you really want to make a difference in the world, then just start making an impact in people. And the more people that you impact, life will reward you with everything that you want.
Remember what you're saying, because I'm going to ask for something from you later on.
Okay.
All right, so don't forget about what you said. So one thing that you touched, and I want to go back because I want to make sure that Maximus is hearing this. You mentioned your 3 daughters. What do you think that they were able to say about you, or what they have learned that they can say, well, my dad, this was my dad. Again, because I never had a dad, so that held me back a lot. That mindset, like, oh, you can't do something. But I'm thankful that my mom, basically pushed me and said, you can do whatever you want in life. And that's the mindset I wake up every single morning. I'm very thankful that God has put that commitment in my life to be able to connect with people like yourself and be able to tell your story, because it's awesome what you're telling me. So what is that thing that maybe one of your daughters can say, my dad, this is what I learned from my dad? What's that?
Yeah, I think that probably because anybody who knows me kind of close, they know that I'm kind of goofy and funny, and I like to have a good time. And I think that the attitude that you just bring to your everyday says a lot. I'm not the smartest guy, I'm not the richest guy, I'm not the poorest guy, I'm not the best looking guy, but I do think that I show up every day, and I'm conscious as to how I show up, not only to the world, but to my children and to my family first, right? So I always ask that to my clients. I'm like, how are you showing up every day? They're like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, how do you present yourself to the world? Like, are you showing up as the person you want to be known for? And if the answer is yes, great, keep doing it, right? And even do more of it. But if the answer is like, no, I'm really not showing up and I'm not presenting the best side of me, it's like, well, start right away. What's one thing that you can do right away to start showing up to yourself and to other people in a better way? Because guess what? When you start exhibiting those behaviors, you eventually become that person that you want to be. So even if you're not who you want to be right now, and you got some stuff to work on, like all of us, just change one thing a day and show up a little differently. every day, and before you know it, it just becomes part of who you are.
Tell me about some experience in regards to networking. How can a business owner, what's the best way to network? Because basically this platform, Askolympus, is going to be able to allow people like yourself get connected with my audience, and I want to be able to be connected to your audience. So what's your thoughts in regards to networking? What do you do now? What results are you having? And what other people can maybe start thinking about implementing in their business?
Yeah, I think networking is a fundamental core strategy for any business professional, especially business owners. Unless you open up your doors and there's already a line of people waiting to do business with you, you're probably going to need to network. And how much you network and where you network, I think has a really big impact as to how fast you grow and the results that you get in your business. But I think that there's something to be said about shaking someone's hand, looking in someone's eyes, having a conversation. That art is slowly fading away. Everybody's hiding behind computer screens and they think that they're going to get business that way. But the best way to drum up business is to get out there, and you have to make a conscious effort. So what I tell my clients to do is, look, have a default calendar. In other words, like, every business needs to do marketing, every business needs to do sales, every business needs to look at their finances. So block out time each week. Show me when you're going to do that activity in your business. Because I have people say to me, I want to increase sales. And then I'll say, okay, show me in your calendar where you've blocked off at least an hour a week to work on sales. Of course, it's not there.
Yeah.
Show me how many books you've written or courses you've taken on sales, right? Of course, they haven't. So isn't it interesting that you're looking to increase sales, yet you've done nothing to improve sales? Right? Make it important. Show me that it's important.
I think that's my something that I'm really committed to, is being able to do that. And right now I'm working on the sequence, a follow-up sequence, because that's one thing that I see clients not doing, is having the follow-up, being able to give an experience to somebody. So I wanted to kind of get to, ask you the main question is why? Why do you do all this, and what was the reason that you're looking to help others? Because we talked about the legacy, that's a great thing, but why do you do what you do? What's the reason? What's pushing you every single morning, wake up and help that business owner that's struggling? And it's funny because most of the times I imagine, because I ask my business owners that they should have a coach, but the biggest complaint is they don't want to, because they don't want to admit that they have a problem. So two things: what is the biggest objection that people give you? Because if they say money, hey, I'm here, let me know, because I would love to help them in regards to getting that. But why, what's the reason that people don't hire a coach, and why do you do the what you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll start out with the why I do it. I think I made a decision very early on that I didn't want to live an ordinary life. I made that decision as a kid. Like, I remember being 8 years old and telling my dad, I want to be rich one day. And my dad's like, yeah, okay, I'm go to bed, right? And the reason I decided that I wanted that was because I like the good things in life. I like, to eat well, to dress well, I like to go eat at nice places, all that stuff. And in order to do that, if you want to live an extraordinary life, I realized you got to be an extraordinary individual. And I'm not saying that I am, but I work at it every single day, right? The compelling reason for me is because I don't want to fail. I don't want to see anybody around me fail. My parents came to this country with very big plans for themselves and for us. I'm just completing that. It's as simple as that. I'm just completing something that they started, and I'm setting up my kids for the future to continue that as well. Awesome. The second part, I think, to your question was what stops people from moving forward. Yeah. It's getting them comfortable. What stops people from going to the gym and hiring a personal trainer to make them do stuff they've never done before? It's uncomfortable, but you know what? All growth is uncomfortable. Like, if you want to be uber successful, happy, healthy, wealthy, and you want to do that comfortably, show me how, because I have yet to meet anyone who has figured out how to do any of those things while being comfortable and not doing something they've never done before. And so they'll blame it on things like, I don't have the time or money. I actually get that a lot. Oh, I want this, I need this. Let me come back to you when I have more time and money. And I said, buddy, when you have a lot of time and money, you're not going to be calling me, you're going to be calling a travel agent, right? Yeah. I'm the guy who gets you time and money, right? So It's fear. It's not wanting to be uncomfortable and invest in themselves. It's easier to do a Facebook ad. It's easier to send an email. It's easier to do that stuff than to hire somebody to look at you straight in the eyes and going, here's what you're doing right and here's what you're doing wrong.
So, we're getting close to the end, and like I said, I was going to ask you for some commitment, right? And the thing that I want to do for people out there, that are going to start following us is, and that's why I wanted to you be my first episode. You have the best guarantee, right? And with that guarantee comes a lot of responsibility. So I'm going to put a little responsibility in your lap, because I went to your last event. And tell me a little bit about that. What you guys do at that event?
Yeah, I think you're talking about Growth Club.
Yes.
Growth Club is an event that we do every 90 days. We get business owners from all around our area. We actually even have people from Tampa and Orlando coming every so often, and we get them together and we help them create a 90-day plan for their business. So every 90 days they come in, they spend a full day learning, planning, networking.
It was an awesome experience to see these people, just talk about with the results and just feeding each other, like that same mindset.
We give awards. We give them awards. So it's a full day. We feed them, and then at the end of the day, when we say you can actually leave and go home, we actually go to the bar and have drinks and chit chat some more. So it just goes to show you the
I really enjoy that. So I promised I was going to sponsor the next one. So being that I'm going to be there for the next one, I wanted to put a commitment to you is. What are you going to be able to give our audience? What special offer are you willing to put that responsibility in and say, this is what I'm going to give the people that are listening and out there that maybe entrepreneurs, business owners, or people that just maybe thinking about doing something like an option B. What are you going on?
Yeah, and obviously we brainstormed a little bit on this, and one idea that we just kind of threw across that I think is great is I'm willing to give you 3 tickets.
Okay.
They're each worth $200 each, and maybe what we do is for people that comment and like the video and share the video, and if they even send us a video as to why they think they should win that ticket, then let's award them with that, right? So I'm going to give you 3 tickets for the event. And then you and I, we can manage who gets those tickets, right? And
I'm gonna put it a little bit higher.
Okay.
All right, because I want to be able to show the power that what this is going to do. Because the Askolympus is going to have a whole bunch of different experts, marketing experts, CPAs, financial advisors. Everybody that you'll find in a BNI group or in a chamber, you'll be able to find in Askolympus.com. So I want to put it a little bit higher. Will you be able to commit for those 3 people that we get the tickets, maybe 1 or all 3, that we can put them on a 90-day transformation and walk them through that whole process, that they can see where they started,
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I want to make sure that it goes to the right person. So, let's have them send us a video and say, here's who I am, here's my business, and here's why this business needs to succeed. And if they're willing to do that, we can pick out 3 businesses.
So that's what I want to do is, the people that are interested, I want you guys to be able to, we're going to put a link or maybe send you guys an email with an application and why you should earn this. Because if you think about it, those 3 months, please give me the value of that, or what are we giving them in regards to dollars? Because people like to tend to say, what is it worth?
Yeah.
So what is usually what somebody an owner or a business owner?
Yeah, I mean, if we just go kind of in the middle, middle kind of package for our time, and that's just for my company alone. That's about a $5,000 value for those 3 months.
So you heard it right. Juan Ortega, Action Coach, is going to be willing to put $5,000 of his money, and I think that we're going to be able to get other experts to be able to put some more value, like some marketing and maybe some expertise, maybe some advice that can kind of start stacking up, because we want to make sure that when we finish this 90-day challenge that we can show results, because everybody's about results, right?
Of course.
You go to the gym, you want to be able to say, look at my 6-pack. So I'm so man, I'm honored and privileged that you were the first person, because you basically allow me and help me come up with this vision, and be able to think bigger and be able to make an impact. And like I always say, there's a purpose for everybody. My purpose is to be able to serve others and to be able to show that, you know, with the power of God, and, you know, thank God that He has placed me where He's placing me, to be able to give something back, and I think that that's powerful. So I think that if you could tell me before we leave, and again, thank you so much. I really,
No, it's my pleasure to be here.
It's been awesome. A last tip with somebody, you know, can you give something that will be impactful for a business or an entrepreneur, or somebody is maybe thinking about opening their own business? What is something that will be impactful that, you know, like they can leave with?
Yeah, look, you know, I would say live a life of design, not a life of default, which means is that reverse engineer everything, okay? If you're starting a business, start a business with the end in mind. You know, what sort of business do you want to have? Who do you want to help? What services and products do you want to deliver? You know, all of these different things. And the same thing with your life, you know. Don't just wake up and see what life, you know, is going to hand you. You know, be purposeful, be cognizant, plan as to what it is that you want to build. So don't leave it up to chance. You know, start with the end in mind, work your way backwards, get those goals in writing, and most importantly is have someone in your life that loves you enough to be tough and loves you enough to give you a hug when you need it, but ultimately will hold you accountable, because we all have blind spots, and the solution to your biggest problem might be in your blind spot, and I can see it and you can see mine, and so have that person in your life.
Awesome. So again, guys, go to the website Askolympus.com. I want to thank you for your time. I know it was a little bit long, but I think it was impactful because I wanted to make sure that we put the foundation, because, you know, there's system and process for everything. I want to make sure that you guys kind of get the vision of what I'm trying to achieve, and I look forward to hearing for you guys to come back to the second episode. Again, thank you.